in general, you can kind of tell that the game is being patched by pros because they can't come to an agreement. So you have a lot of small changes that don't really have a lot of impact on the game. So now you have like the crazy cyclone metas and like TVT especially. And sometimes it just goes into a horrible direction. Like, okay, let's change the cyclone so we can make mech more viable against Proudest specifically. I think that's what they wanted to do. Maybe it's not.
Hey, SE Historian here. Today I have a piece for you with one of the best and certainly the biggest Terran players Europe has ever produced, HeRoMaRinE. Gabe and I covered everything from his take on the Balance Council's changes to his thoughts on what it would take to get RTS back in the limelight again. My voice was absolutely shot during this one after a night of karaoke with some StarCraft buddies, so I do apologize for that. If you've been enjoying my work, be sure to get subscribed. If you really love what I'm doing here, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the video description. That said, let's jump in to my word with HeRoMaRinE.
So HeRoMaRinE, thank you so much for taking the time today, man. I really appreciate it. So, you know, the customary question I've gotten the habit of asking folks, how'd you first get into StarCraft?
Wow, it's one of these interviews. Well, I mean, it's kind of just a game I picked up on. I mean, my brother played it a little bit, and then actually, well, the only interesting part about it is that he was, I don't know which version he was playing, StarCraft 1, like back in 2008 or something. But we were playing the game, or I don't know exactly how it worked, but like would share the same computer and the keyboard. It was like maybe the N64 version or something, because we ended up playing on the same keyboard, like me left side, his right side.
Oh, that's so funny.
1-on-1. I'm not sure that's what it was. I mean, it was a long time ago, but it was like the StarCraft 1 version back then. And well, also another interesting part is I come from Cologne, and that's like the the capital of esports. So ESL would run tournaments back then, mainly national tournaments that you could come and watch. I wasn't old enough yet, but
fair enough.
So that's how you got into touch of StarCraft, and you get into touch to esports as well at the same time. And then, fortunate enough, like 1 year later, StarCraft 2 came out.
Do you think living in proximity to, you know, this esports culture and, you know, ESL influenced your decision to like dedicate yourself?
Sure. Even during holidays, I would download some of the VODs from their broadcasts, and I would watch them on holidays because we didn't have like internet there. So I literally like downloaded VODs and I watched them over and over again, actually. That's how much I like to watch the StarCraft 1 show matches, I guess.
That is really cool, honestly. So you must have been pretty young then, yeah?
11 or 12.
Sure.
Yeah, somewhere there.
So have you ever been like really deeply involved in any other gaming communities?
No, not at all. Well, deeply involved. I mean, I've gone to a lot of Counter-Strike events. Well, that's another funny story. I can tell some funny stories. I think I've talked about that sometimes, maybe on my stream or whatever. But basically, when I lost to Zamana in 2015, I was always like with people in Skype, in like WCS Challenger it was, and I barely lost to him. And it's like, let's pick up another game. Just like not serious. I was like with friends in Skype call and like joking, like, yeah, okay, it's time to play another game. And then we started playing Counter-Strike. That's when I started playing Counter-Strike, just for fun. It was just joking, let's play another game.
Yeah.
And I was at the start of 2015, and well, I got the highest rank in that game after like 1 or 2 years.
You got global elite?
Yeah.
Sick.
And then I was more into the Counter-Strike committee, also because of my team, because we have had like well, not at that point, but later on, a global team, like a top 10 team even. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that, actually.
There's also many like Counter-Strike events. So I know some of the players, not even only from my team, but in general, some of the German players and
Sure.
some of their community. Yeah.
Are the the players for Mouz and CS:GO also German?
The play, yeah, they used to be German back then, in 2015 and 16. Nowadays, because it's a world-class team, like a top 10. Well, it always fluctuates.
Sure.
Sometimes top 10, sometimes even top 20, because like one guy left and they have to pick out another one. Sometimes even top 5 for the best team in one tournament. So it's mainly a European mixed team.
So, you've been with Mouz for like over 12 years, right? Longer than any other player in the history of the organization. Like, what keeps you so dedicated and loyal to the team?
Well, I'm not dedicated. Well, I mean, it's just kind of convenient. I mean, I do my thing, and I think we're both kind of happy. I've never had any other team approach me. I think that's kind of a little bit of like a good sign in a way, because kind of tells you that like nobody even wants to touch that relationship,
Yeah, for
So,
sure. I think people respect it a lot.
It's I mean, I've been pretty old player basically. Well, when I started I was very young, and now I'm still not very old.
Sure.
But like I've been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many players. Some of the Koreans, like Maru, they have played longer than me for like tournaments and stuff. Some others obviously have been more successful, but yeah, in terms of like being on the team and like experiencing that, like back then even like, I don't know, like team clan wars and stuff like that. There isn't too much to say about that. I mean, we're both just very happy with that, and I think it's a pretty good fit as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the general perception as well in the community. So, like, is there a specific moment where you realize, like, okay, StarCraft is going to be a really big part of my life?
Well, I don't really know. I never thought about that. It's a commitment. Nowadays, my apartment is also StarCraft themed, because obviously now I'm so committed into this game. Like now, there's no escape anymore, so I have to embrace it. But it's one of those things. It's like I think about it like this. It's never too late, but you always kind of think it's too late. So, for example, if I knew, let's say, 13 years ago when I started playing, back then I was already watching like GSL and stuff. What if I learned to speak Korean? If I had done that consistently over like the last 13 years, and I put some effort into it, then I'll probably maybe be able to speak Korean now.
Yeah.
But you never know where it takes you,
Yeah.
And then you always think like, oh, okay, it's too late to start. So yeah, I don't really think about that. Like when I was playing StarCraft 13 years, I didn't think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this game for like 13 years. No, no way. It's like step by step after a year, kind of grows on you more and more. If I knew that, then I would it's one of those things where you can't predict that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty reasonable take. Yeah, it's just continue living your life, and it's working, so you just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, is there a particular moment or match from your career that you would say you're like the most proud of?
The most proud, I don't know. Not really. There's always one story. I also did like the signature series with me a couple of years ago that I always talk about. It's obviously back then winning the German championship for the first time, because that's what I was always aiming for back then. Only like I could only play when I was 16.
Yeah.
And also before that in StarCraft 1, when there were all these events in Cologne, they were also age restricted, so I could never go there.
Yeah.
So my goal was always to play there. And then the first time I participated, I was actually able to win. So that was amazing. And then in 2018, that's also another thing I told in that video. I thought about already like moving on and maybe going to university. I didn't play any tournaments in like 2017, besides an IEM, because I'm never really that competitive, and also a little bit lazy, I guess. So I was like, 2018, okay, we're gonna maybe focus on other things. Then I played in the in the WCS Leipzig back then in Germany, they had a DreamHack. So I decided to play there. I got top 16. Lost to Neep in the round of 16, who was basically the best back then.
Absolutely.
And even in that series, I lost because I was an idiot back then, you could say. It's like, it was a best of 5 and I kind of threw a game, but what I mean by that is I used to play like one-trick builds. Like I would do a Hellion drop against him on the ladder. It will work every time, but then I do the exact same thing in the tournament, and then he obviously kind of counters it. So that could have gone a lot better even. But then the one match that was very deciding for the outcome of my career, funnily enough, was the qualifying match for the next WCS in Austin, because I didn't sign up for that tournament. So if I didn't qualify for that event, I would not have played that one either. I wouldn't have gathered points and therefore didn't qualify for the global finals. And that was the regional quarterfinals, the WCS Challenger back then in 2018, the quarterfinals against Nurture actually.
Oh.
And yeah, if I didn't win that best of 5, then I probably would have not qualified for the global final BlizzCon back then, and then I probably, I mean, I would never stop playing, but I wouldn't have had the same dedication, because then I decided, well, I got top 8 in Austin, so I got more points. And then I decided, well, that gave me confidence, and then I decided to play in Valencia. That was the next event. I didn't qualify for that, but I still played. In that event, I got top 4, and yeah, with that, one more event left, had enough points to qualify, and that's kind of where I was like, yeah, let's give it, let's actually fully commit and play in all of these tournaments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting how there can be such a domino effect. So, you know, I was told that like there was a time period where you had said you were gonna transition to maybe be a streamer and not so much a full-time pro anymore, but the prevailing opinion seems to be that your skill level kind of went up, or at least your results did.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about. I was streaming a lot in 2017. I never really felt like playing in tournaments because I also kind of had a bad attitude. Well, I was kind of bad attitude, but I was kind of out of it in Legacy of the Void because so the time frame is like in 2016. I had my last year of school. I focused a lot on it, which in the end was kind of bad choice, if I have to admit. Like fully focused. I was already one of the best back then, but then for like the A-level exams, you then have to study one more time. But it wasn't, like thinking back about it, like it wasn't actually so much I had to do there. But I said like, okay, I'm not gonna play anything. I missed many opportunities. Yeah, I never really, I was kind of always a little bit anxious about traveling because I've never done that. Like during my time in school, like I talked about how I played in 2013 or whatever, or even 12 or whatever. That was mainly online or like in Germany. So I never really traveled, and yeah, I never really felt like it because of that. So I focused more on streaming. Maybe then I wanted to go into, I don't know, university or whatever, do something else and stream at the same time. But then, yeah, like I said, then I started competing again after I qualified for the Austin event, and before that there was a DreamHack event in Germany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and the rest is kind of history, I guess. Yeah. So, what is the origin of the Big Gabe meme?
Big Gabe meme? It's because of my big personality.
Yeah, is that really just it?
I think so. Yeah.
Huh.
And I mean, because I'm massive as well, and everybody sees that. It's.
Do you like this ongoing thing? Do you think it's funny, or does it annoy you?
I mean, I think that's always funny.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
I think.
I was watching, for example, the co-stream of Rotterdam, and Raina was also streaming in one of those DreamHack regional matches a couple months ago, and they are also hilarious when they kind of meme around. Like when, who was it? Wayne. Yeah, Wayne was playing Vanya. And they just kept calling him Bruce Wayne.
I'm trying to think who you were playing. I want to say it was maybe Trigger. Did you play Trigger at Home Story Cup?
Yeah, the last
The recent
two.
one? Yeah, okay, I think that was it then. I don't know if you know this, but they zoomed in the camera, so you took
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I know that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was so funny, dude. And they made Trigger look real small. Anyhow, okay. So sometimes you're pretty vocal about balance. Protoss seems to get on your nerves a little bit. Some of the elements of the design, like. What do you dislike about the design of the Protoss race?
To be honest, I usually don't really dislike anything. I'm just I'm just representing the average ladder guy. I mean, if you lose in a ladder game, then the first emotion that you're gonna have is tilting and raging. So I just represent that.
Fair enough.
If you talk about me a couple of moments later or something, I'll act very differently than on stream. So it's more like not like playing a role, but like it's more like I also only allow StarCraft on my stream. We don't talk off topic or something like that. Full focus on StarCraft and just enjoying the tilt, the losses, the wins or whatever.
Sure.
And yeah, I say whatever I think. Well, in terms of balance and whatever, I mean, that's a thing from the past nowadays. I don't think that's a relevant topic anymore too much.
What is your opinion on the overall state of balance currently?
I think it's all good. In general, you can kind of tell that the game is being patched by pros because they can't come to an agreement. So you have a lot of small changes that don't really have a lot of impact on the game. And it also goes more in the direction of just spamming a lot of like units and multitasking rather than like strategy and stuff like that. So now you have like the crazy Cyclone metas and like TVT especially. And sometimes it just goes into a horrible direction, like, okay, let's change the Cyclone so we can make mech more viable against Protoss specifically. I think that's what they wanted to do, maybe it's not. And in what direction did it go or led into? Well, the Cyclone is present in TVT. You can also use it against Zerg. I don't think it, especially at lower level, I think against Zerg it's great. But against Protoss, it's useless. So they wanted to change it because of Protoss, but it's like basically useless. In terms of overall balance, I think that's always a question on where you want to take it. I always say, or I think in general the game is balanced, but you can always buff a certain race. And if I had to think like, should we give Terran, Zerg, or Protoss a buff? I think right now Zerg and Terran definitely don't need a buff. Protoss, honestly, not really either, but like if they want to, let's say, make Protoss a little bit more reliable and give them a little bit of a change, then yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree. It's probably not going to be a big change because that's kind of how it goes. Right now, I always feel like whenever I win because either my opponent is terrible enough to lose to me, or I won because I played okay. And whenever I lose, I usually feel that either I'm a terrible player or my opponent just played better. I never actually think at the moment that I lose because of balance. And I also don't think that I win because of balance. You know, it's not like I beat that Zerg or Protoss or whatever because Terran is strong right now.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think it's really funny to look back on how messed up balance has been at various periods throughout the history of the game. And if you compare it to now, it seems like all the complaints we have are like very tiny compared to a lot of the game-breaking balance problems that existed in the past.
I think a lot of it comes down to the player base in general. Like I'm the strong opinion that the player density for Terrans is quite high. So we have like 10 players that are world class for sure. Like 10 Terran players, if I include myself even. Like then we have like world class. It's like you have like the best players in the world and then people that can compete. That's what I mean with world class.
Sure.
So like the best people, we have like 4 Terrans. We obviously have like 4 Zergs with like Reyna, Serial Dark, and Solar. With Terrans, we have like Clem, Maru, Cure. I don't know about Cure.
Gumio.
Yeah, I think I would rather put Cure in there. Gomio's results are good, but let's not go too deep into that.
Sure,
I'm just
sure.
good naming the people that first come into my mind.
That's
So
fine.
these are the three. And with Proudest, we have like, yeah, that's about it.
Well, it feels like just Max Spec's hero, right?
I think Max Specs is great, but like, what if Cyril decides to not play offline? We have one less Zerg offline,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the like Max Specs for sure. But like when I played, for example, against Hero in this tournament, like I have to be real. Like the one game I lost, it felt like, oh yeah, he did play that very well. But the other games that I won, it's like, I don't think he played better than me. I don't think. I think he just messed up, you know. So I, in terms of player density, there isn't so many of the Protests, and the best doesn't even compete. So
Sure, sure. Yeah.
what can you do?
It's quite unfortunate. So, with Stormgate and Zero Space on the horizon, and seems like a bit of a renewed interest in StarCraft 2. This is the second consecutive year with a great crowd here, interest from the Saudi esports organizations, and in addition to potentially some support from Microsoft, we hope. It seems like RTS is entering into a bit of a new renaissance. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, thanks to ESL for sure. I also think the Gamers 8 tournament is great.
You also think what?
The Gamers 8 tournament is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's well, in the beginning, before the Gamers 8 tournament was revealed, we thought like, oh no, less money, no more Blizzard support, the contract is over.
Yeah.
ESL's like cutting the prize money and all, but it's not only coming back. I think we get even more now than before.
It's crazy.
It's not a lot. Like when I say like, oh, we get even more than before. If you compare that to the infrastructure of other games, of course.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but that's kind of the nice thing about the StarCraft community is they appreciate all they get. Even like a home Star Cup that nowadays barely has any money, only quote unquote $10,000, which is really not a lot.
No.
It gets a lot of clout still.
Yeah.
Like there's still many people also showing up, and yeah, I think also in terms of number of events, it's like the perfect amount. So it's not even like oversaturated, so we don't have like too much, especially offline content, which makes it great.
It's pretty sustainable, it seems.
Yeah. So yeah, even if it's not filling up arenas, I think we can't complain. And to be honest, I think the amount of money, like, who would have thought that well, back then maybe people had higher hopes, but like let's say a couple of years ago, who would have thought that you can still win hundred thousands of dollars, even if it's just let's say 5 people, by playing StarCraft.
Sure, absolutely.
That's kind of what you want with any game, or that's kind of how esports works.
Yeah.
In the end, it's all about the money. It's all about like, because like it's a sport, so like in StarCraft it's all about the prize money because we don't have other infrastructure, we don't have many sponsors or whatever, so it's all about the big tournaments. And so basically, because we still have tournaments that offer more than like $100,000 prize, because we still have players, even if it's just a handful, earning like 100 up to like 200,000 just in prize money per year or whatever. That still makes it good enough, because that's in the end the main motivation for the player. Like everybody is looking at the main prize, everybody is playing to win.
Yeah.
And if that price is still high enough, you're gonna have enough players competing, basically.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, including yourself, are dedicating your life to this, right? You have to make a living.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
So it's all about just winning that big event.
Would you say that, like, you were talking about kind of lack of infrastructure and lack of support outside of prize pots. Would you say that the support that a lot of people, high-profile players, are getting from teams is not that substantial?
That's actually something I don't know, but I know it from other games. It's nothing compared to other games.
Sure. So what do you think a next generation RTS can do to capture some fans that are not already, within the genre?
I think the only way to really catch like a big audience is if a big company decides to do something again. Like, I don't even know if Blizzard nowadays is big enough to do that. Well, that's already kind of, if you think like that, then you're thinking wrong, because I don't think we're gonna see anything from Blizzard.
I mean,
but
they
let's
don't
say
have the
like
talent
an
to make an
esports
RTS,
company like Riot Games or whatever. If they decide to make an RTS, I think it can be actually huge. But even with Stormgate, we still don't know in what direction it's gonna go. Maybe they get like a huge publisher on board. Maybe they already have it. But without a huge or a big publisher, I don't think you can make a game like the main esports.
What role, you're saying that because like in the beginning they need to pour in a lot of money to kickstart the scene, or like why do you feel that
Yeah,
a very
that's
large...
why.
Okay.
You need to put in, like, I think if you want to make a game successful like RTS esports, you need to put in millions of dollars in prize money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, if you're gonna...
Otherwise, people, like, you can create like probably one of the shittiest games. If you actually put like millions of dollars into it, you're gonna have so many people try and compete in that game.
Yeah, like
You can create like the worst game on the
whatever,
planet,
yeah.
and if you just have millions of dollars prize money, people are actually gonna try and play that game. And because of that competition, because everybody wants to get better, that creates like the environment of like everybody wants to compete, everybody learns from each other, everybody plays. Therefore, they also watch streams to like learn and stuff. Obviously, for like the publisher, if their game is actually garbage, like I say now, like it's not sustainable. But people are actually still gonna play it just because of the money.
Of course.
Yeah. And like a smaller publisher can't put on that much prize money for sure.
Yeah. I mean, not for very long anyway. Even if they could.
It would be a waste of money. The game also has to be decent. Yeah.
Of course. Ideally. So, the final question: like, do you see yourself, competing in an RTS? If a new RTS, if there's a significant community that sort of forms around it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I will ever be gone. It kind of depends on the game. I'm looking. There's obviously two things: fun and success. If I'm very successful in something, that I will even play it if I don't really enjoy it so much. Then I have to judge like how successful do I want to be. If I don't enjoy it, to keep on doing it. But like success and fun are the biggest factors. Yeah, like I don't play Age of Empires, for example, because I don't like it.
It's a very different RTS.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go into that discussion. I don't want to offend any people here.
Sure.
But it is not the same for sure. Yeah, so, but I would probably, like, let's say I stream Age of Empires and I would get, I don't know, if I get like 1,000 viewers in StarCraft and I get 5,000 in Age of Empires, I would probably play that even if I don't enjoy it as much. I mean, it's not a bad game.
Sure.
For sure. I just think it's less enjoyable than StarCraft.
Yeah.
But I would then play rather Age of Empires because I'm more successful in it.
Yeah, if it's going to make your career. Then,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I don't know. I can see Stormgate being great, but I don't think we'll ever have like another like 2010 where like I stream and I get like 15,000 viewers or something.
Sure.
I don't think we're gonna see that anymore in StarCraft.
Yeah, or an RTS, I guess.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, that seems like wishful thinking. Ultimately, I think if Stormgate over the next couple of years can grow to be just a bit bigger than what StarCraft is now, that would be great. Like, in and of itself would be almost enough. Do I think it's going to get to League of Legends size? Probably not. But I think there's potential for it to be pretty successful.
I think any game can go into that stage or that. I don't think any game can compete with the main three esports like Dota, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike. I don't think any game will go into that anymore.
So, I mean, that's about what I have prepared for you. Do you have any closing words?
No, I mean, I'm good.
Fair enough. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Get subscribed so you don't miss out on future releases like this one. If you really enjoy what I do here, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the video description. That's all for now, my friends. Until next time.